Well, in these early moments of the offensive against Muammar Gaddafi's military strength, General Wesley Clark says the major questions are less about military feasibility and more about the political goals. First, though, let me welcome General Clark. General, before you said Libya did not meet the test for U.S. military intervention. Now it does. What's changed in your opinion?
Well, when I wrote that piece for the Washington Post about 10 days ago, the Arab League had not called for intervention, and there was no UN Security Council resolution. The objectives had not been articulated, the forces had not been gathered, and so there was a lot of talk, but it had not been brought together. Now, since that time, and that op-ed was published, I think, Friday night, so about 10 days ago. So the Arab League spoke out, the UN Security Council resolution was adopted. It's quite broad. It's more than a no-fly zone. It does authorize the strikes on the ground. It does call for a ceasefire, and it was implemented, and a coalition of forces came together, and so, you know, it moved forward. What remains, though, is the tough part, which is how does the military action lead to the political goal? It's one thing if it's a direct intervention and you go after a government or try to destroy an army. That's pretty clear. It's another thing when you're going in to stop fighting for the purpose of protecting innocent civilians and you're calling for a ceasefire, but there's an ongoing civil war between the two, and it's not clear exactly where this goes. The political statements from the United States have been, our political leaders have made very clear in the United States that it's not an American operation, it's not going to be led by Americans, and it's not necessarily directed at getting rid of Muammar Gaddafi, even though there have been earlier calls saying that he had lost his legitimacy and should leave. This operation is directed at protecting innocent civilians.
So, General Clark, let me ask you this. Does that mean we're looking at the prospect of Libya being split in two? Is that your fear?
It's certainly one of the possible outcomes. Another possible outcome is that diplomatic negotiations will broker some kind of an arrangement in which there's a substantial self-government and the Libyan state is disassembled. Another one would be that Gaddafi would simply find asylum and leave. Another one would be that the International Criminal Court would charge Gaddafi. He'd be arrested somehow, and then there'd be a constitutional reform throughout all of Libya. There are many different alternatives. The point is the military action has made these alternatives feasible politically. It's up to the diplomats now, using the leverage of the military and international law and economics, to get something done here.
General Wesley Clark, great to have you this morning and to get your insights. Thank you so much. To read more on General Clark's views on the crisis in Libya, visit cnn.com/opinion.